twisted nose gear. Alright, quick battery swap, let me straighten that out, and here we are. Let's try it again. Alright, let's see. Oh, man. I have no idea what happened. I know I lost the tail section. Ah, the camera came clean. What we got here? That's out. Oh man, look at this. Here's the nose cone drilled into the ground. Oh man, what happened? Literally just could not control her. She would not write. Yeah, news is I know that this is glueable right here. The control surfaces look fine. Let's see if there's anything left on the ground after I pick her up. A little bit of something. What do we got? Cowling? Oh yeah, look at that. Cowling is totally fucked up. Wing seems to be in good shape though. At least we got that. Hey, oh. Battery compartment got ripped out. Hopefully the motor seems to be good. Spinning free. Alright. Parts is we'll take them back. Got a red dot on the screen, right? Yep, you're recording. So you see what I see in this? Oh yeah. So I know the very first question everyone wants me to answer is, what happened? I'll get to that in a minute. First, where I'm at right now is Oxford Valley Mall. They have a corner of their parking lot that very seldom gets utilized. I've never really seen any cars parked there for the couple of years I've been going to the mall. So I use this corner of the parking lot to do my taxi testing. It's big, it's not used, and it's paved. And so that allows me, especially with the tail dragger, and because I'm still trying to learn how to manipulate a tail dragger, it allows me to operate the ground practice and get that figured out without having to deal with the friction of grass. So that's what I was actually there doing the day that I was filming this, and I had already cracked up the tail dragger. It accidentally browned out on me as I was powering up for a small hop flight, and when I got video footage back, it was on the ground, propeller snapped, and the landing gear was a wreck. But that didn't stop everybody from coming over and wanting to talk to me and check me out. I had a fellow from Philadelphia come by who was a engineer on a helicopter. He was retired Navy, and so he was on the Seahawks, and he came over because he was interested in flying the actual helicopters, a conventional styled helicopter with the main rotor and tail rotor. And that's not flying that I'm ready to get into just yet. I'm still trying to master fixed wing, although the quadcopters are very easy. Then I had the gentleman that I'm talking to right now. he swung by a little while later, and he was a very interesting character. First off, he's a officer, state trooper, and then he's also a reservist in the Air Force, Officer Bruce, and his job in the Air Force is to pilot drones, although he's the weapons officer, not the actual pilot. But still, he's, qualified to fly. And he came over to check out what I was doing, and all I wanted to do was talk to him and find out about his job, because that was what I would like to be doing. Oh man, if I could be flying, everything I'm doing is trying to make basically a drone simulator. So yeah, it was really an interesting conversation, because he's trying to find out how I do what I'm doing, because he wants to get into that, and I'm really interested in finding out what he does, at least the unclassified parts that he's allowed to share. So we talked for probably 20 minutes, and all of a sudden he's like, all right, let's see this thing get in the air. And I'm like, yeah, I can put this aircraft in the air. And so took off and did a little bit of flying, and he was really impressed, and I had a good time showing him my system, and he got to act as my spotter, so that way I got to stay, quote, legal as far as the AMA rules go. So that's what was happening at the moment that I was filming this. So anyway, yes, back to what happened with Missy and the crash. So near as I can tell, the first flight was great that day. The winds had started to pick up by the time I got the nose gear fixed and put the battery in it and was ready to take off, and so we were getting some gusts up to like 15, so they were hovering around 7 sustained winds, and gusts up to 15 to 19 miles an hour. So I take off and I start to feel a gust, and I decide I want to get above the potential for rotor coming off the trees and up into the smoother, more consistent, but a little bit faster winds, just to get out of the little gully that I was in. So I remember I applied power and I pulled back on the stick, and just at that moment I looked left, and my spotter said it looked like the aircraft just flipped on its back and went out of control, but he didn't see any of the control surfaces actually let loose at that time. So I think the tail snapped off when I impacted the ground. That said, I really think it was pilot error. I got a little bit overzealous and broke the cardinal rule, and that is I tried to point the aircraft up to go up, and you're supposed to apply power to go up, not pull back to go up. And I stalled the right wing, which in a propeller-driven aircraft with a right-hand twist actually is the wing that would typically stall first. So I stalled the right wing. I was only, 40, 50 feet in the air, and there was just no time to recover. And I didn't do the right things to recover either. I was still pulling back on the stick and trying to get the wings level rather than pointing it at the ground and trying to fly away. So, yeah, basically I forgot basic avionics and or basic aviation and cracked up the airplane. But as you can see, I glued her back together again. Everything is working perfectly. Did some ground testing and tweaked all the control surfaces and the nose gear, and she taxis beautifully. And Officer Bruce got to see her fly. And interestingly enough, back to the conversation with Officer Bruce. While I'm prepping the aircraft for flight, we had another guy show up. This was the third guy who pulled up. Apparently everybody was visiting doctors that are around Oxford Valley Mall, and he took a look at the aircraft, looked at me and said, "Don't fly here. Just take that camera off your aircraft, and then you can fly down here with us in Philadelphia." And it's the Philadelphia group that I can't remember their name of right away. And here's the thing, you always find snobs and bigots no matter where you go and in what sandbox you play in. And I do know that group has a prejudice against FPV flight, and that's one of the reasons I don't fly with them, and I do fly with the Pegasus Group, because they're okay with it. And now I gotta find out who's stinging me. Alright, why don't you enjoy the rest of the flight, and I'll put on some music and have at it.